I've got your ticket for the new podcast. There's a new episode today. They have a new game for you, brought to you by the crew. I hope that you don't miss it. It's today. The podcast. I hope you don't miss a new podcast. They have a new game for you, brought to you by the crew. I hope that you don't miss it. It's today.
Hey guys, welcome to the Crewcast, episode 13 for the 10th of August 2013. Today we have myself, Gizmo, Sarah, Kama, Danny, and Belbuzz. I'm going to go straight to the main news.
Okay, our first news topic of the day. Last of Us, censored in Europe. So what it looks like, now this is only, I believe, in Europe, and I think all of the downloaded versions. So no matter where you're at, even in the US, if you download it, you get the censored version. But it looks like they've taken out a lot of the gore when it comes to like limbs being blown off and things like that in Europe. Some people are very upset about this, saying censorship. They want the full game experience that say we get here when we play it. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. The game should be played as it was intended. I mean, it's an 18, isn't it? So children shouldn't be playing it anyway. So the adults that play it should be playing it the way that it was intended to be played.
Well, for me, it's not the first game that gets censored, so I think for most of the games I kind of get used to it. I mean, it's not right, yes, but I don't think there's anything the people can do about it because it's the rating.
It should be noted that some people talking about this were blaming Germany, saying that they think it's because of Germany that this rating and their rating system or whatever made it easier for Naughty Dog and Sony to just make a special Europe version and then just not have to worry about it. Naughty Dog, however, did say that it was because of some European restrictions. They didn't really make a lot of sense when they said that, because people are like, what? I mean, the game's rated, 18 or whatever, so the PEGI system covers this. What are they talking about? So I'm not really sure myself, and I don't think Naughty Dog is 100% saying what's going on, but it sounds like it's some mixture of the two. I mean, it may have just been more convenient to make the one version. A lot of game companies do dance around this, with special versions. Killing Floor, for instance, was a game that the German version that Kama plays has some of the blood taken out. I don't know how much different really is it, Kama?
In Killing Floor, you can't see the heads chopping off, the legs chopping off, or whatever, like the real gore. Most of the blood is gone if you play it in the German version. And yeah, like the giblets, if you explode the Z and all that, you don't see that. It's just gone. It just falls down.
So, I mean, it's interesting to me. I think if the game is rated for adults and that situation set up, it shouldn't be a real big issue. I don't know why they have to necessarily censor it. Is this an issue of one country's rules affecting the other countries in Europe? Naughty Dog says no. So, but it's just sad. And what's funny just is, I guess because the download version, it's harder to have multiple downloaded versions, which seems like that would be the easiest thing. If anyone buys the online version, you're going to get this edited version of the game with less gore. So I think it's annoying that in this day and age we still have this kind of censorship. I think it's stupid. I think that places that sell games should just do a better job of making sure that little Billy comes in there with his paper route money when he's 10 and tries to buy this game. He shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I don't know if this is true, but like, say if I got an American PS3, like ported from America to my house, I got the American version of the game, could I play the proper version?
I don't think you need to have an American PS3. If I remember right, PS3s are not region locked.
So I just have to get the American version of the game.
Yes.
I would assume. Now, there's no reason to. I mean, since they're not region locked, it shouldn't be a situation where there's one game and it just automatically detects where you're from and then just changes, which is kind of what like Killing Floor and a lot of these things do. I don't know if it's when Steam downloads it, it just downloads a special version of Killing Floor with a little setting change. But you should be able to get the U.S. version and have the full gore. It's just you can't do like a downloaded U.S. version. You have to make sure you actually buy the physical product. So it sucks, but let's move on. All right, so I'm going to let Giz talk about this one. Giz, go ahead.
Okay. So Rocket has released the next devlog for DayZ, and it was okay. There were a few parts where I couldn't understand what was being said because there was lots of gunshots, and there was a few buggy moments. Boz, I don't know if you agree.
Well, I mean, the first thing you're talking about, the audio levels. Rocket did a horrible job with the audio levels of his video, so it was hard to hear him over gameplay. He admitted that was a mistake. It was late. He was tired. Okay, but it would have been nice since we don't get that many of these. That it would have been better, but it definitely was very buggy in spots. I mean, I remember watching it, and he was trying to eat like a can of food, and he could never get it to eat. I think he had to like drop it down on the floor and then eat it from the floor, or whatever, like right click it on the floor and say eat. That worked, but all the times he had it in his inventory, it wouldn't work. There was one point when he was trying to go up the steps to a house pretty early in the video, and it started shaking, like glitching the screen a little bit, and he kind of just like backed off away from it, which made me think, oh, he's like, oh, this place is glitchy, so let's just not go in there. Let's back away. I mean, some things looked really nice. I did like the look of the game. I think it's, it looks good. I hate the post-processing effects that have ES turned on.
Yeah, you can turn them off, can't you?
Yeah, you can turn them off. I just can't believe people actually use that.
No, it's horrible.
I mean, some people like it. It gives me a headache to even look at it. But I liked the characters. I liked all the clothing. I mean, they did showcase the whole being able to take somebody prisoner. You can actually like zip tie, handcuff them. And you can actually have people take off their clothes. They don't get naked. They get down to their skivvies, their underwear, whatever you want to call them. Insert UK term for this.
Strip down?
I don't know what you guys call like the undergarments that
Pants, underwear.
Yeah, so underwear is what we would say, but like sometimes when you guys say pants, I mean to us pants are what you put on over top of your underwear.
Danny, did you say undergarments?
I said long johns.
Oh, who said undergarments?
No.
So
in the 1900s.
This is going to be interesting, I think, just because with the whole ability to kind of get down to that undergarment level, as we'll call it, since people like that, and the fact that there will be male and female characters.
Oh God.
A lot of people weren't very happy with the idea of having females in Arma because they say females shouldn't be in a soldier's game.
If females are going to be in this game and there's going to be stripping down of stuff, then like they should be stripped down as well. It should be equal that men and women both get stripped down. Obviously, women would have to have bras on and stuff, but there's no reason why they shouldn't have to be stripped down.
So, I mean, this is going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be some really weird videos start popping up.
But there is going to be
really sick individuals and just, some people trying to go routes that they think might be funny that could become
over the top.
It could be very distasteful.
So about half the internet?
Yeah, so
probably more.
Now, what I do like about the dev blogs is I don't like the frequency of them. I wish there was more of them, but I understand that they're working. It's crunch time. They're way, 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 way behind schedule. One thing he started doing also is he's doing like these daily tweets or DayZ dev tweet or something like that. I forget what they're called, where he's kind of tweeting more about what he's doing every day or so. And I think that's nice because we really weren't hearing much at all. What most of the stuff we learned about was either from a show that he was going to, be it PAX or, whatever. So we're hearing a little bit more. But I guess the troubling thing for me is it looked like it had a lot of bugs. It didn't look as advanced as I was hoping when we were hearing that, within weeks it's going to be released on alpha. The next dev blog video is going to be next month, and I guess that's when they're going to, at the end of August here, they're going to start evaluating the game and then do a dev blog showing where they're at. So I don't think we're going to see it in August then, obviously. So it looks like every first of the month they're going to evaluate things and then decide if it's getting close to alpha. So I'll be very surprised if August or September see a release. We really could be looking at the holidays before this game hits alpha. And that's really disappointing when originally we were going to be able to play the mod, the standalone release of a fixed mod last December. Now we're looking at this December maybe. It'll probably be out before then. But again, it's only going to be an alpha. So it's not going to have all the features and it's going to be limited. So, I'm disappointed in it. I'm happy that they're not trying to just throw something out there that's garbage, because I think that'll hurt them even worse too. But it's a game I want to play, and I have to keep waiting, and it sucks.
Yeah.
I do like what the Starbound guys are doing. They're constantly, like, every day putting, like, their daily update for the day, sometimes pictures, sometimes video. They're constantly keeping people up to date with what's going on. Arma, the Arma 3 game is constantly getting updates, and they have it's on Steam already in alpha. It's dev branches of it. Constantly keeping people up to date with what's going on. And that's the company working on DayZ Standalone. It just seems like a lot of effort's being put into Arma 3, and I think DayZ's got a smaller team, and it's just taking longer, and it's disappointing. I'm at the point now where I can't wait for just Day Zero to release their new map with all their new features. And all these companies, or not companies, but all these groups are all starting to look into doing DayZ in Arma 3. And if they can get zombie pathfinding and movement down with all the Arma 3 features, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think the mod guys might have a better shot at doing something cool than Rocket if they don't get their act together.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying, but on the other hand, it's exciting, but kind of do feel bad for Rocket if these mod guys are going to come out with it beforehand. It's going to be like a bit of a slap in the face, but...
Yeah, I think they'll do a great job. They'll put out a good game. Rocket and them. Rocket's a good guy. He's an honest guy. He's trying to do what's best for the game and the community. It's just the delay is just frustrating for the fans, and of course, I'm a fan. But let's move on. So we're going to talk now about a little bit of TV and movie news. And Gizmo, obviously, you need to deal with this first one.
Okay, so this is major spoilers for Doctor Who. If you don't want to know who the next Doctor is now, skip this part because we're going to be talking about the next Doctor. So the 12th Doctor, as Matt Smith is leaving, the 11th Doctor, the 12th Doctor has been announced. It was broadcast live in the UK and I think America as well, and some other countries. And it is Peter Capaldi. He's 55, so he's a bit older. He's actually the same age as the first Doctor, William Hartnell, which is fantastic. And when he first came on stage, he pulled William Hartnell's famous pose, like when he holds his jacket kind of thing, which was amazing. So, initially, what do you guys think of an older Doctor?
First off, let's just check too. Sarah, are you a Doctor Who fan, or do you not watch it?
I don't watch it a lot. Sorry, guys.
Okay, Danny, what about you? I always forget with you.
I think he doesn't watch it either.
We didn't want to watch it.
Okay, so Kama and I, besides Giz, are the only Doctor Who fans that are here. So I'll let Kama go first.
For me, it doesn't really matter if he's old or young or a woman or whatever. For me, it's the performance in the episodes that counts. And since I haven't seen him in an actual Doctor episode where he's the Doctor, not the one where he was in, I can't really say much about him. I saw him in the one episode he was in.
Yeah, he has.
But
appeared in Doctor Who before and Torchwood, but as a different character, obviously.
Yeah, and I guess we will see how good he actually is as the 12th Doctor in the future episodes.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I've been happy with all their picks. I think, Doctor Who at its core comes down to a story and the acting cast, whoever they all may be. I think they've been very good with all their picks in the past, so I don't expect this to go any differently. But I do think he's going to be a different type of Doctor than the others. At least the last three. I mean, I have no knowledge of all the other ones. The thing about the last three, when I look back at them, is they're all they were funny, quirky personalities. Besides, being able to get serious and just, deal with whatever they had to deal with. They were quirky in a good way. And I think that was everybody brings a different thing to the table, but at least I think the last three guys were very entertaining and quirky. I don't know if this guy's going to have that type of Doctor. I mean, when I see some of the clips of this guy and other stuff, I think, oh, this guy looks like a more serious actor, or where he's going to be a more serious, Doctor, which could be an interesting thing. Or is he going to still be kind of quirky? I don't know how old was what was the first Doctor from the reboot? What's that guy's name?
Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston.
How old was he?
He's
He was
late
like
30s or early
late 30s or
40s. Yeah, I think it was late 30s, I believe.
I mean, he was probably the quirkiest of the three, I think. He just a lot of facial expressions and
yeah, Matt was very physical.
yeah. I mean, it's just lots of stuff, but I mean, still a quirky guy. But I'm curious now how this guy is going to be. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of the other Doctors. I don't know if they always have that kind of funny quirkiness to them.
Like William Hartnell, the first Doctor, when he first kind of appeared, he was very much kind of like anti-humans. He didn't hate them, but he kind of like just didn't really like them. And as that went on, he kind of became more softer. But he definitely wasn't kind of quirky. He was more a serious kind of granddad-esque. And then it kind of changed to Patrick Troughton. He kind of he was a lot more quirky. He played a pipe and stuff. And then John Pertwee was a karate expert. I'm kind of hoping he's going to be kind of John Pertwee-esque in the sense that he's going to be quite eccentric, but still clever and still harsh in the sense.
I mean, what I would love to see, and again, I mean, I'm not like a diehard like Doctor Who fan. I've watched all of the reboot and I've enjoyed it, and I would continue to watch it. But I kind of would like to, at least in my head, it'd be kind of neat to see this Doctor be a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
If he, whatever his companion may be, I don't care if it's a female
Clara.
companion. If I don't know if she's going to stay,
yeah, she is.
For a long period, or if they're going to ditch her. But I'd kind of like to see him just be totally different than what she's used to with Matt Smith.
Yeah.
He's just more serious, and maybe even like a darker season of enemies that they have to deal with, and just more, where it's a complete kind of flip flop. I mean, they have some dark enemies and some dark moments, but I don't know. I kind of would just like to see it get a little bit more, just a little bit more devious, and maybe
Definitely.
a little bit of angst between her and him. Maybe he doesn't want her around as much, or kind of feels like maybe she doesn't bring something to it or whatever, but before the issue at hand is darker. I mean, I think that would be interesting. I do think there's going to be a lot of younger female fans very upset.
I was going to comment on this. It's very, very disappointing to see some. I mean, it's definitely not all. There's a lot of people very pro him, but it's very disappointing to see a lot of the reactions complaining about him being older. But people seem to forget very quickly that Doctor Who has existed for 50 years this year, and the original Doctors were a lot older than Matt was the youngest that's been cast so far, so it's going to be a drastic change going from the youngest to the tied oldest. But it's very disappointing to see people commenting initially that he's too old, and some people saying he's ugly. He's not ugly. He looks fine. But
Well, I think that the problem you've got is you've probably got a younger base of fans who are used to Tennant and Smith, being younger guys. I don't think Eccleston was probably rocking the young girl vote. Um, but I think Tennant and Smith probably have increased the young female fan base of Doctor Who. So I do think you're probably going to lose some of those type of
I
fans.
actually, I actually say good riddance to those kind of fans because that's not what the show is about. So it's kind of, I've noticed a lot of comments online saying it's the purging of the fans, and I kind of see that as a good thing in a sense. I still see the show having a lot of support. Yeah.
All right, so next up in our movie TV news here, Harrison Ford is expendable. So the Mr. Indiana Jones Han Solo is going to be in the next Expendables movie from Sylvester Stallone.
There's another one.
What do you guys think about this?
Pretty cool.
Interesting.
Now I don't know,
It's not
like
the
for
best one.
I don't know if you guys, if it is as interesting the whole Expendables movies to you guys as somebody say my age who
Oh
grew
no,
up with the '80s action heroes, and really the fact that Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, Bruce Willis, I mean, all these guys were the big action stars of those days. They're all getting up there in years, but in a sense, this is almost like Ocean's 11 for action heroes, because Clooney
Yeah.
got all his buddies together to kind of redo the Ocean's 11 and all that. Uh, I enjoy them. They're horrible. Like the stories aren't like
Yeah, the
the most
stories are
amazing, but I just
terrible.
like seeing all these people together.
No, I definitely as well. I've watched like a lot of these originals when I was younger because my mum was a big fan of these kind of people, especially like Van Damme and stuff. So I used to watch a lot of these movies when I was quite young actually. I saw Predator and I was like 5 by accident. So when I first saw like the Expendables, it was really cool. And two. So yeah, Harrison Ford coming in is quite exciting. It's just disappointing to hear news of another actor that he's kind of got quite big of himself, asking for like 1 million a day, referring to Bruce Willis there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bruce Willis didn't have much of a major role in either of the first two. And then there was always like, Arnold, small parts in them, and then you've got Chuck Norris was in the second one, but it wasn't like a major role. I suspect that this is what we're going to see from like Harrison Ford. I don't know if he's going to be like one of the main crew going through the whole thing. I don't know if they've really said, I try not to read too much detail, but I picture Ford being like some government agent or person who brings them like a mission or something. Maybe he'll be a bad guy. Who knows? I know
That'd be
Harrison
sick.
Ford would really like to do more comedy. When I've seen interviews with him on different talk shows, he really likes comedy, but it's something he really doesn't get offered. So I think it'll be interesting to see the next Expendables and see what cast of people they all bring in. But it's a guilty pleasure of mine just to watch them, just to see these guys back in action as they get closer and closer to needing wheelchairs and walkers.
Number like 7 is going to be the one in wheelchairs.
And leading on to that kind of geriatrics getting older type thing, rumor has it the next Batman is going to be a middle-aged Batman. And this kind of touches on what we talked about in the last podcast, where I had mentioned that rumors are that the next Batman versus Superman, not the next one, but the Marvel movie is going to be a Batman versus Superman, and it's going to kind of go with Frank Miller's universe for Batman, where Batman's kind of going to be an older middle-aged guy, maybe coming back out of retirement, maybe not, but definitely middle-aged. But now the quest is on who should be the middle-aged Batman.
Yeah, it's similar to kind of like whole who is the Doctor going to be, like who's the next Batman going to be, and I'm happy that he's going to be older as well. A lot of older things casting this podcast. Not a
Yeah.
bad thing though, because I think in this day and age as well, there's a lot of kind of young actors. Nothing. It's not really terrible, but to me it's terrible because it's annoying. You got the fangirls, but there's a lot of young things, like a lot of pro young, all these like Twilight, oh look at them all sexy, whatever, and older people are kind of getting shoved to the back. So bringing them to the forefront is definitely a good thing, because I mean, let's face it, they're much more cooler, much more bad bottom.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's a lot of actors who are getting up into those, 40s, early 50s. I mean, just watching Expendables, some of those guys are in that boat. Some of them are in their 60s and 70s. But some of those guys in their 40s, 50s, some of these current actors that are, aging, it would be interesting. I mean, I mean, we've always seen Batman as this young, 30-something, basically, guy who, basically is just kicking butt and everything and taking names. But, I think it would be kind of cool to see Batman kind of putting on a little extra weight maybe, or not being quite as in good shape, have some real gray hair, but still really being called out maybe because Gotham needs their Dark Knight again, who left for a while, but the crime is back and some big bad is back and he has to deal with it. I think it would just be a different spin, and I think it would be interesting.
Adam West.
Yeah, it might be a little too old.
That'd be a joke having Adam West.
I go for my pick for the next Doctor, and I still think he should be the next Batman, John Goodman.
I think Buzz should be Batman.
I'm Batman.
Best way to wear the truth.
All right, so that's pretty much our all of our main news. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into some crew news, and we got some interesting stuff going on right now. Obviously, as you guys are listening to this, if you're listening to it right when it airs or within 24 hours, what are you doing? Go watch the live stream, because we are live streaming right now for 24 hours straight. Pause this, watch it again later, but go to our Twitch page, come hang out, watch us play games, and play games with us. So
We're still here. Go. Hush.
So for those who are watching this after the live stream's over, hopefully you were there and you enjoyed it. And if you missed it, maybe next time. We try to do, 2 or 3 live streams a year. And it all depends, too, on how many people show up and if people enjoy it. I mean, we'll keep doing it if people like it. But we're going to play lots of different games. There'll be Minecraft, there'll be Terraria, there'll be all kinds of cool stuff. Killing Floor, probably something in Arma. We'll have some games where we'll have like sign up where you can sign up and play with us. Some games you'll be able to watch us play. And some games will just be like a free-for-all. It'll be like first person on, can play. Once it fills up, it fills up. So it should be a ton of fun. We're going to give away games throughout the 24 hours. I think almost all the crew are going to be there. And I think I've only heard of like 1 or 2 people say that they're not going to stay up the whole night. I think really Piper might be one of the few who said she won't because of work. And I think Extra kind of said that he may not if he gets tired near the end.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's it. I mean, I don't know if Sarah plans on being there for all 24 or if she's going to be sleeping.
I definitely won't be there for the whole 24 hours, but I'll be there for as much as I can.
So other than that, I think everybody else is going to be going for it. I'm not sure about 100% about Mario, but because I think he went to sleep on the last couple for a few hours and came back.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm anticipating Giz, Danny, myself. I think Alicia said she was going to stay up for the whole thing. Maybe we'll coax Piper into, who knows. I don't know about Ross. Not sure about him. But anyway, I mean, we're looking forward to doing it. We got a lot of games slated, and it should be a lot of fun. All right. So the next big news is our Infestation server. Now, this is just a test server that we set up. Kind of a little something I was looking at, some plugins, and I thought, yeah, this may be interesting. And I talked with the crew, and they were like, yeah, well, let's give it a shot. So we have a server running right now, and this is not necessarily a permanent server, and we might redo it and start over if people really like it. We may do something different. But the premise on this Infestation server is there's a bunch of different classes of people. When you start the game, you're a human, but you can become a vampire, you can become a werewolf, a priest, what else is there? Witch hunter, there is an angel, there's a demon,
A ghoul.
Ghoul. They all have different characteristics and benefits. Things they can do, maybe abilities, spells, things they can't do. I think certain ones can't wear certain types of armor. On our forum, we have it all detailed. But PvP is on, except at spawn, and basically people going around becoming these different classes, fighting each other, killing each other. You can create plots of land and protect it, so the chest will lock and all that garbage, so they keep you safe. So we're trying to, it's more of a test. We may start over from scratch if people really like it. A lot of people are playing it right now, so, if it's something you want to do, you should check it out. And if you hear Gizmo near you, sneaking up behind, you might hear this. There we go. So be
I got very
afraid.
confused. I thought you were playing some random thing.
No. So, people are enjoying it. We'll see what's going on. We have a vote on the forum right now for what kind of server people would like to see us do. If people want the Infestation server for the long term, if they prefer Tekkit, Feed the Beast. I know on the forum, I think Swippin mentioned Better Than Wolves might be a better option. I do like Better Than Wolves, but the problem with that one is it may be more difficult for people to play because they have to install it into a jar file versus Tekkit and Feed the Beast, which have their own downloader launchers. But we'll see what people want, and we'll try to go from there. But definitely check out the Infestation server if you haven't. Go to our forum. Any of the threads on our forum at the top have a thread that's got all the crew information. It's got all the crew servers, information about the crew, all the crew's YouTube pages, you name it, Twitter addresses, all kinds of great stuff. And our last thing, and Danny, I'm going to put you on the spot again. Wasteland event. What's going on?
So the Wasteland event is going to be next week on the Saturday. Have emails been sent out?
Emails have just been sent out earlier today.
So the emails have gone out for the people who have been invited to the Wasteland event. You need to respond to the email. Is it a form that they have?
It'll have a link. It'll have a link to a form, and they need to get back to us before Wednesday and let us know if they're going to be playing or not.
So make sure you check your email accounts and make sure you fill it in and send it back so we can get numbers and stuff sorted for the Wasteland event.
Now, I will like to note that it was a first come, first serve, so we have a set number of people that we picked to play against us. I took the first, it's more than 20, but I picked the first 20-something people who signed up, and I sent them emails. Now, I will say already a couple of those emails bounced that are invalid, so people typed their emails wrong. So in that case, there's not much I can do. Some people, put dot instead of a dot, which I don't know why you do that on a forum. I fixed those, but some of them bounce. So unless those things somehow get delivered, maybe their email server is down and it'll re-deliver it, because automatically email servers try to retry when they can't communicate with them. But I got a feeling some people will hear from us that haven't if you didn't make it in this first batch, because I'm fully expecting that there's going to be, besides the people whose emails are wrong, there's going to be people not reply. If we don't hear back by Wednesday from the first batch, we'll then start sending out more to fill in the gaps that were left in the second batch and maybe even a third batch. So it'll be an email that goes to you with the email you signed up on the form. You have to confirm that you're going to play, because it is going to be the 17th of August, and it's going to start for you guys at noon Eastern, which is 5 p.m. in the UK, 6 p.m. in Sweden and Germany, 9 a.m. in California. So you guys will be able to get on, and you'll have about 3 hours to fortify and set up yourself. We will come on, and we'll have about an hour or so to get ready for attacking, and then we're going to attack. So you have to confirm that you're going to be able to be around for 5 or 6 hours, because it is going to be a long gaming session. Anyway, Wasteland event, if you've signed up, please check your emails, get back to us, and if not, you may hear from us still, because like I said, I expect a lot of people to not be able to play or not even respond. We may put a few people on a standby list if some people don't show also, so you're not out of it yet. Alright, so our main segment today is going to be, what's the best gaming franchise out there? Now, you could look at this of different ways, and it's up to you. It could be what you think is the most popular out in existence. It could be what you think is the best gaming franchise. It could be what you think maybe is the one that's making the most money. But, what do you guys think is really the best franchise out there, and why?
Well, I think the best, like, overall, not my personal favorite. So this isn't my actual counting one, but I think Mario is probably one of the top ones. The amount of money that it makes and how popular it is.
Any other thoughts?
My personal favorite gaming franchise is Zelda, because over the years, that's about the only game I still play, even the older ones, and it hasn't failed to bore me at all.
Yeah, that's one of my 7 in my list that I made. It's definitely one of the top ones.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Sarah?
I agree with both Camera and Giz on that, and I also think that Angry Birds is kind of becoming a big franchise now because there's more and more different versions being released, and there's more and more people playing every day as well.
Yeah, I think for me now, my favorite franchise would probably be the Diablo series. I'm just a big fan of Diablo. Diablo 3 gets a lot of grief, but I still think it's a very good game, and I think they've done a lot for the balance. I'm not a hardcore player that cares about auction houses and trying to get loot and sell it. That doesn't matter to me. I just enjoy a game that I can play. So Diablo would be my favorite franchise. When it comes to the biggest franchises out there, probably Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty. Those are probably 2 of the biggest money-making ones out there. Battlefield maybe in that same genre, but I think Call of Duty franchise is one of the biggest, and so is the Grand Theft Auto series. So, there's a lot of franchises out there, but I think those 2 are probably the biggest 2 dollar-wise, sales-wise. But I'm a big Diablo fan myself.
Is Mario not as popular as it used to be then?
I think it's popular. I think Nintendo has probably some of the bigger franchises, but I still think, from what I've seen, recent numbers, I think the Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto are 2 of the biggest money-making franchises out there. All right, so let's move on now to our deals of the week. Now I have two deals right now, and they're both Humble Bundle related. One is the current Humble Bundle, which there is not too much time left. I think about the day before the podcast airs, I think there's 2 days left. I think it ends on this Sunday. But they have a current bundle where you can get Saints Row the 3rd, Saints Row the 2nd, Risen 2, Dark Waters, Sacred 2 Gold. If you pay more than you can pick your price for those 4 games. But if you pay more than $5.14 as of right now, you also get Dead Island, Game of the Year, Metro 2033, Risen 1, Sacred Citadel, and all of the DLC basically for Saints Row the 3rd. If you spend more than $25, you'll also get all of those previous things that we've mentioned and Dead Island Riptide. So, say you spend $6, you're going to get 9 or basically 8 games plus DLC for Saints Row the 3rd. So that's a really good deal. If you really are a Dead Island fan, you can spend the extra $20 onto that 5 or 6 and get the Riptide version too. Now they also have a weekly deal right now where you can pick your price and you can get Uplink, Darwinia, Multiwinia, DEFCON. I think you get the source code, which is more for programmers for some of these games. There's a voxel tech demo and a city generator demo. And I believe if you spend more than $19.99, you also get Prison Architect, early access and the full version when it comes out. So, 4 good games there. Plus, if you spend more, you can get Prison Architect. That's the weekly sale going on this week. Humble Bundle does a weekly sale every week, so it's a great way to get some games and kind of name your price. And they're trying now, it looks like, to sweeten the pot more by putting in a newer game and forcing you to bid higher so that you hit that minimum and get that game, but then you also get all the other games too. So some really good stuff. All right, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to answer your questions. Now, sadly, we didn't get any video questions this week. Got a lot of questions, but we're going to start off with a question from Deli Dog, who wants to know what would be your idea of a perfect game. So let's start with Kama.
My idea of a perfect game. I haven't actually really thought about a perfect game because I don't think there will be any perfect games out ever. But my idea of a perfect game would be the most realistic game that you can have as a zombie survival game, for example. I mean, none of them will be ever too realistic. But, for example, zombies, they... if they run, they should really, like, pathfinding, for example, DayZ, pathfinding would be a major thing. Then, if you die, you die. I mean, it would be a crappy game if you die, but then you have more survivability if you actually manage to survive. I mean, it doesn't mean, like, you can have only one character. Kind of talking about War Z right now.
That's bad
No,
news.
but I guess some aspects of all zombie survival games maybe mixed together in one game, that would be maybe pretty good.
Okay. Danny?
For me, I'd say a game that's got good gameplay, good story, good multiplayer, stuff like that. But
Nadima.
a perfect game for me, I would go old school, and I'd say a 2D story-based point-and-click game with elements of like combining things to make, like, to progress the story. So you have to make like something that opens a door that you have to get through, stuff like that, like a puzzly type game.
Okay. All right, very cool. Gizmo?
I mean, I love zombie games and stuff, but I think I'd like a game kind of sort of Doctor Who-esque where you have a time machine or something, and you can maybe level up and stuff and gain abilities or something, and like gain intelligence or something and stuff, and so you can travel through time to different periods and stuff, and maybe go to different realities and stuff, so things are completely different with like crazy alien things and upside down worlds or whatever, just completely random things, like, and time as well, like go back to like World War One or like the Mayan times, like caveman time for dinosaurs, and like just explore those places and kind of maybe have somewhat kind of missions or quests and stuff to do, but make it fit in with the kind of timeline type stuff. I think that'd be really cool. More of like an exploration kind of adventure game.
Okay. Sarah?
My idea of a perfect game would be lag-free and and similar to Minecraft, but more realistic and kind of like Danny, a bit old school, and a set kind of database for the game. So you have certain things to do, but you can choose different paths to get to the end of the game and things like that.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I mean, perfect game is could mean a lot of things to different people. I think, there's a lot of different genres, and depending on what kind of genre, what makes a perfect game to you may not make a perfect game to everybody else. So, I mean, this is a toughie. It's a very open-ended thing, but I guess for me, the perfect game that I would love to see a role-playing game that is multiplayer, not massively, multiplayer. I don't want Warcraft or any of that stuff, but like a Skyrim type world that's multiplayer co-op, where you can have your band, your party of adventurers, and it's kind of an open-ended world, like what Skyrim kinda is. But I would like to see all this talk we hear about the cloud, and I would really like to see the world, like all the inhabitants of the world, have AI. And depending on what we do in the world, like maybe what quests or bad guys we stop or help or do whatever, it really affects the way the world evolves, the way the people see us. I mean, like, oh, you're the ones who took out this king, defeated the evil king or whatever, or maybe you decided to let him live, but really the world evolves around what we do. So it's not one of those things where it's like, do this quest, then do this quest, then do this quest, then fight the bad king, kill him, and you win. Game over. I'd like to see an RPG, a co-op RPG, where really the world itself really evolves based off of how we do things and what we do. And really just a ton of people in the game that are AI, but actually they kind of evolve based off the environment and the surroundings and everything else. I just think it would be neat to see a game that kind of changes based off of what you do and the people react in kind. I find the idea of massively multiplayer games, not RPGs, not very fun because most people break the immersion at some point that you play with. But the AI kind of having its restrictions, you wouldn't see that. Maybe we get to a point where characters can speak. You have text to speech, and it sounds horrible. Maybe the technology is better so that these people can talk to us and actually sound like real people and not text to speech. So that instead of having to read a lot of text, people can react. They can scream for help based on the environment. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to get to that point, but I think with all the cloud talk that we're hearing with these next-gen consoles, to have these worlds handle this kind of stuff, I think would be possible. I just think it would be so much fun to play with a party like that and be in a world where things evolve around us.
I just kill everyone. Steal everything and just kill everyone.
I really like that idea too, Boz.
So developers out there, you're free to use that idea and just, give us free copies. Okay, our next question is from Molly. And Molly wants to know, what game would you like to see a sequel to? I'm going to answer right now for Mario because I know exactly what he's going to say. Time Splitters. Right? Isn't that one he always talks about?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's Mario's answer. Since he's not here, he can't complain. What do you think, Sarah? What do you want a sequel to?
I'm not quite sure. There's quite a lot of games, but I think it'd be quite interesting to see a sequel to Minecraft. You could imagine quite a lot of things being done that people wouldn't expect to make the sequel, and I bet people would love it as well.
Okay. Giz?
A sequel. There's only like one kind of game series that I've always really wanted a sequel to, and that's the Oddworld games, specifically Abe, the original character. I know they are remaking them at the minute, so there's hope for continuation of that series, because it was always going to be I think it's called a quintology or something. So there was going to be like 4 specific main characters in the universe, and there was only really ever 3, and the 4th one never really came out. But I'd love to see a new Abe game, like with an original story, like following on from the second one.
Okay. Danny?
It's so hard to think of a game that I'd want to see a sequel to. Might have to come back to me on that.
Alright, Kama?
I'll go last.
I thought at first maybe Time Splitters as well, because I absolutely love the series. I love the story, but there are already 3, and it's kind of ended after the third one, so I don't know what they could possibly do. So then I thought about Puzzle Agent, but that story also ended. But I would really like to see either of those two games getting a fourth or third part. Definitely.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the safe and easy one that I think most people want, and there's rumors that always, when will it come out? Half-Life 3.
I was going to say that.
I mean, that's the easy, safe one. I mean, I'm sure if I spent like a lot more time going back through like back catalog of games that I've played, that I could probably come up with some here and there. But I mean, most games end up getting sequels. Very few games really have just one release, and that's it. So I'll go with Half-Life 3 just because I mean, Half-Life is one of my favorite series. Really enjoyed the first Half-Life. Half-Life 2 is awesome. So I'll go with that. Danny, do you have one, or are you still struggling?
I've got one. Killing Floor.
They're already
I'd
working
like
on Killing Floor 2, aren't they?
Well, rumors.
I don't think
are
they've officially said.
All right.
I'd love to see like a Killing Floor, like updated, better graphics, a lot more things to do in the game rather than just waves. I think it'd be fun to play.
Yeah, playing as the actual mobs themselves would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Left 4 Dead 2 versus mode.
Okay, that's a good answer. I like that one, Danny. All right, so the next question comes to me, and this is from Crazy Girl Espion, and she wants to know, how does my wife feel about me spending so much time with people you met on the internet? Interesting question. So first off, I will state that Mrs. Belbaz, who I always like to, that's the name I give her, which probably doesn't sound that great, probably not that great for her to be called that, because it does sound doesn't have a great ring to it, but we'll go with that for now. I'm very lucky. I mean, she is very, very nice about all this. So I mean, I'm very lucky. I married a very beautiful, very smart, and very nice woman who allows me to do the stuff that I do.
Oh.
But I will also state that one of the things, too, is because most of the crew are in the UK or Germany, they are so far ahead time zone-wise that a lot of times when we wrap up, it's very early in the evening my time. So I still have time to do things with the family. And that's one of the reasons why, the crew is predominantly, European, because it works out well for them. It's their evening, so they're free, and it works out well since it's my afternoon, and then I'm free in the evening. If I did only this type of stuff in my evening and then went to bed every night, Mrs. Belbaz would probably kill me. All right, so lastly, we have a secret question.
God.
And I can't reveal who asked this question. They do not want to be known. So, Mr. or Mrs. X, we'll say, wants to know. Now, the way they worded this is a little... I'm going to read it the way they worded it, but then I'm going to change it a little bit. And that question is, you guys do a lot of online stuff, and you're young, which doesn't necessarily apply to me, but, and like Piper say. But what do you want to be when you grow up and get a real job? So for you guys, I mean, a lot of you guys are still either in school or finishing school. What do you guys want to do outside of playing games and making videos? So we'll start with Sarah on this one, because Sarah's still, obviously in school, younger than the other three here. But what do you want to do?
I would love to own my own cupcake shop.
I would like to go there and buy cupcakes to eat.
Free ones.
I said buy. I don't want to put her out of business. Not that I could eat that many cupcakes that I'd put her out of business, but, I could try. It could be a goal, Okay, so Giz, what do you want to do?
This. Entertainment online.
Really?
It's the only thing I'm good at.
Oh.
I help run a youth group and stuff outside, but that's just volunteer work. I do a lot of drama with children and stuff, but I don't really want to do that as a job.
Okay. All right, Kama.
I have been working before as a storage worker. I have worked in an office. I mean, it's good work, good money, but I don't think it's something I would like to do forever. I don't really know what I want to do. I mean, this year's fun as well. I mean, I could see me doing that for a few more years, even without getting paid. But before all that, I actually want to be a game programming guy, but that never worked out.
I'm actually a fully qualified joiner. So when I was in school, I wanted to go into construction and help build houses and stuff like that. So I got my qualifications to become a joiner. So what I am actually doing is looking towards getting a job in construction and building and stuff like that. So that's since I've been about 14. That's been my goal, is to be on site and building away, cutting wood and fixing wood to walls and stuff like that.
But anyway, that wraps up our questions. If you haven't sent any questions in to us, please look in the description of the video, look in the description of the podcast, link to send your questions. Send them as a text question that you just type in the form, or link to a video or audio file. And if you do that, we'll play the audio file or the video on the podcast. But with that, if you guys want to say goodbye, we will close out this edition of the Crewcast.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Crewcast. We hope you tune in again next time. Compass.